We are diving into our new unit in math, and this unit is going to be focused all on similarity and using what's called a scale factor to take an image, stretch it out, make it bigger, or shrink it down and make it smaller. And that word, similar, that's a word that you use and you hear every day in everyday conversations. You might say, oh, those two songs, they're similar, or those two flavors of ice cream are similar to each other. So, what does that mean? What does similar mean? Does it mean that those two songs are exactly the same? No, but it means that they're alike with a couple key differences. Today, our job is to explore in mathematical terms, what does it mean if two shapes are similar? We know it doesn't mean that they're exactly the same shape, but how are they alike if we say that they're similar? This idea of similarity is really important to lots of artists because artists typically use similarity to scale up a drawing to make their artwork, especially when they're making a really, really big, large scale mural. So, for example, in Milwaukee, back in October of last year, a couple of artists came together and they wanted to paint a mural down Mitchell Street on the south side of Milwaukee. And so it was in October, right before the November 2020 presidential election. And so they were motivated to try and get more of their community members out to the polls to vote and voice their opinions. And so they took this plan, this middle image here is what they planned for their artwork to say going down the street. They wanted it to say, voting is power, Black and brown lives matter. And you can see a couple of the artists here. They use tape measures, they use sidewalk chalk to turn that plan into a large scale mural. And at the end of the day, here are some of the after pictures of what that mural looked like after they finished painting in big yellow letters going all the way down Mitchell Street. Now make sure that you watch the two videos that I've posted for you in today's assignment so you can sort of see some of the process and you can hear from some of the artists who talk about their motivation and the process that they use to turn their small plan on a piece of paper into this huge mural going down the entire street. Now, if we compare the original plan compared to the image or the mural that's painted all the way down the street, then we're going to sort of begin to understand what does it mean if these two images are similar to each other. And in class, I'm asking you to focus on a couple really key important aspects when we're talking about similarity. I'm asking you to compare and contrast. What do you notice about the general shape of the two figures between the original and the image mural drawn? How do the general shapes compare to each other? Are they completely different? Do they look nothing alike? Or are the shapes really similar, basically the same thing? Then I'm asking you to compare and contrast. What about the lengths of the lines? The lengths, are they the same size? Are they smaller? Are they longer? What's happening to the lengths of the individual lines? How about the areas and the perimeters when we go from the original on paper to the image mural painted on the street? How about the angles? And then what if we describe the distance between, say, the V in voting to the fist? How does that distance change when we move from the original on paper to the image of the mural on the street? And what you're beginning to notice probably is really foundational to this idea of similarity. We notice that the shape is basically the same. It says the same thing, the design looks basically the same, but there's a big difference. There's a big, big difference. And obviously, that's the size, right? And so to go from the original to the image, the shape stays the same, but the size changes. And that's really foundational to our entire unit where we are going to be exploring what does it mean if two figures are similar to each other. And basically, what we just saw from the artist is that similar figures are when the size changes, but the shape stays the same. We're going to continue exploring that and learn some more math vocabulary so that you are able to use similarity to draw scaled up or shrunk down images. And if you're following along and really learning a lot with us, you'll also have the opportunity to use what's called a scale factor to even shrink something down and turn it into an object that can be 3D printed.